Hello, this is Teacher Suzie and welcome to my class. So in this video, ang ipapakita ko naman is how to solve quadratic equation using completing the square and the quadratic formula. So sa nakaraang video natin, pinaliwanag natin yung nilalaman ng module na natanggap ng mga students ng Valenzuela, grade 9 students ng Valenzuela, in which ipinakita yung kung paano ma-solve ang value ng x or solutions ng quadratic equation using extracting the square root. Ngayon, in this video naman ay sasagutan natin yung ipinakita sa module kung saan gagamit naman tayo ng completing the square and quadratic formula to solve for the given equations. Let's have number 1. Let's say we have x squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. So, dito sa equation na to or sa ating solution na gagamitin, ang ating goal ay makabuo tayo ng isang perfect square trinomial. So, paano natin malalaman na ang isang trinomial ay perfect square? Kapag ang first term niya at last terms, or ang first term and last term are perfect square, at ang middle term ay 2 times the square root of the first and the second term. Okay? So, let's now solve this using completing the square. So, ang una natin gagawin is ililipat natin ang negative 7 on the other side of the equal sign para matira lang ang ax squared and bx natin dito. So, we're going to have x squared minus 4x, lipat ang 7, that will become positive 7. We applied addition property of equality or dahil tumawid ang negative 7 sa kabilang side ng equal sign, magbabago ang kanyang sign. Ngayon, meron tayong space na natira dito. Lagyan natin yan ng blank. Gayun din dito sa kabilang side, sa katabi ng 7. That is because may idadagdag tayong terms dyan. So, ang idadagdag natin na term dito ay ang term na magli-lead sa buong equation na ito para maging perfect square trinomial siya. So, paano? So, kunin natin yung b natin. Our b is negative 4. Okay? So, we will follow the formula b divided by 2. And then the answer will be squared. So, ang b natin dito is negative 4. So, we're gonna have negative 4 divided by 2, following the formula, and then squared. So, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Square ng negative 2 is 4. Therefore, ito yung ilalagay natin sa blanks. So, we're gonna have here plus 4 because positive 4 ang lumabas. Ganun din dito sa kabilang side ng equal sign because this is equality. Now, this is a perfect square trinomial na. So, what we're going to do is we're gonna have 2 parentheses and then get the square. So, ganito rin yung ginawa natin sa number 3 ng naunang video. And then what we're going to do is get the square root of the first term, square root ng x squared, that is x. Copy the sign of the middle term, that is minus, and then get the square root of 4, which is 2. Okay? So, dito sa perfect square trinomial na to, bakit siya perfect square? Kasi perfect square ang x squared, perfect square ang 4, at ang middle term natin ay equal sa 2 times x times negative 2. So, that's how we check if the trinomial is perfect square. And then, tuloy equals 7 plus 4, which is 11. Alright? Ngayon, yung x minus 2 ay naka-square. So, paano natin tatanggalin ang squared? So, get the square root. I-square root natin yan. Of course, ganun din ang 11. Okay? So, we will just cancel the exponent 2 and the radical sign. So, ang matitira ay x minus 2. Then equals the square root of 11, which are positive and negative square root of 11. Kasi hindi siya perfect square. Alright? And then lipat natin si negative 2 on the other side of the equal sign. So, that will become x equals So, isingit natin to bago itong positive and negative square root of 11. So, that will become positive 2. And then, copy natin to plus minus the square root of 11. So, this is our answer. Okay po? So, dalawa ang solutions ng ating given equation dahil nga ito ay degree of 2. It means it has 2 solutions. Kung paghihiwalayin natin, those are 2 plus the square root of 11 and the other solution is x equals 2 minus the square root of 11 kasi positive and negative square root of 11 ito. Yung isa addition, sa isa subtraction. Of course, we have to do the checking. We have to check if our answer is correct. So, let's copy the original equation. X squared minus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Try muna natin to. Itong ating first solution. 4x equals 2 plus the square root of 11. Substitute natin siya sa x. So, medyo kailangan natin ng mas malaking space. So, instead of writing x, susulat natin ang 2 plus the square root of 11. Okay? So, itong buong expression, i-square natin. Then, minus 4 times x ulit. Ilalagay natin ang 2 plus the square root of 11 and then the minus 7 equals 0. So, hindi na natin natapat ang equal sign kasi medyo nag-adjust tayo dito. Now, let us solve. Get the square of 2 plus 11. So, square of binomial na naman. So, paano nga ulit? Get the square of the first term. That is 2. And then 2 times 2, which is 4 times square root of 11. That is equal to 4 square root of 11. And then, the square of 11, syempre makakancel na yung radical sign and the exponent 2. That will become 11 na lang. So, ayan, malaki na naman yung space na nakain niya. Or kung gusto po ninyo i-expand, sige, mag-FOIL method. So, 2 plus the square root of 11 times 2 plus the square root of 11. Yan ang ibig sabihin nitong square of binomial. We will still come up with this. So, I hope natatandaan yung shortcut para hindi tayo or hindi kayo matagalan in solving. So, distribute 2. 2 times 2, that is equal to 4. 2 times the square root of 11, that is 2 square root of 11. And then 11, itong square root of 11 naman, i-distribute. Square root of 11 times 2, that is 2 square root of 11. And then square root of 11 times square root of 11, that is the square root of 121 or just simply 11. Then, pwede natin itong i-combine. Similar terms sila. So, just copy 4. And then, ito, 2 plus 2. That is 4 square root of 11. Copy 11. Actually, we can add this to, may pagpapatuloy natin dito. And going back, so, we have 2 here. Nakalimutan natin i-square yung 2. 2 squared is 4. Okay? I'm sorry for that, but I hope you understood it. So, 4 yan. Kapareho nito. So, ayusin natin ang pagkakasulat. So, this should be 4. Okay? So, we square the first term, that is 4. And then, 2 times 2, or 2 times the first term, which is 4, times the second term. So, that's 4 squared of 11. Then, square of the second term, which is 11. So, ito siya. Mamaya natin i-combine ng 4 and 11. Then, distribute negative 4. Negative 4 times 2, that is negative 8. Negative 4 times square root of 11, that is negative 4 is square root of 11, copy minus 7. Equals 0 pa yan. So, let's solve. Ano mako-combine natin? 4, 11, negative 8, tsaka negative 7. Combine. 4 plus 11, that is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. So, wala na. Ibig sabihin, canceled out na itong mga constants. And then, 4 is square root of 11 minus 4 is square root of 11. So, 4 minus 4 is 0. So, 0 times the square root of 11 is 0. So, wala na rin ito. So, 0. Which is equal to 0. Therefore, our answer is correct. Okay? So, i-check naman natin yung second solution natin. So, let us check if x equals 2 minus the square root of 11 is a solution of the equation. Again, we have x squared minus 4x minus 7. Is it equal to 0? So, palitan ng x nitong value na to. So, we have 2 minus the square root of 11 square natin minus 4 times x. Ito ulit siya. 2 minus the square root of 11. Then, copy minus 7. Is it equal to 0? So, yung ginawa natin dito, okay, get the square of the binomial. Square the first term. 2 squared is 4. Okay, doon po tayo na kamali kanina. 2 ang naisulat natin, but good thing nakita natin siya. And then, 2 times 2, the first term, which is 4, times the square root of, or negative square root of 11. That's equal to negative 4 square root of 11. And then, the square of negative 11, which is 11. So, plus 11. Okay? Kasi magiging positive na to. The square of a negative number will become positive. Or just dito lang tayo tumingin kasi ito kinuha na natin dito. Okay? Anything will do. And the negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 4 times negative is square root of 11. That will become positive 4 square root of 11. Copy minus 7. Is it equal to 0? So, yung mga constants ito, solve natin sila. 4 plus 11 is 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. So, cancelled out na to lahat. 0 sila. And the negative 4 square root of 11 plus 4 square root of 11. So, negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Right? 0. Then copy square root of 11. 0 times square root of 11 is 0. So, these two are equal. So, it means na ang nakuha nating solution is correct. Okay? So, nagkaroon na kayo ng idea about radical. So, we're going to have this sa susunod na quarter. Alright? So, let's have the second example. Example number 2. So, we have in here 3x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. So, kung napapansin, yung a natin ay 3. Okay? Meron tayong 3. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan natin tanggalin yan. And for us to be able to do that, we have to divide the whole equation with 3. Or multiply, kung gusto niyo na multiplication, multiply the whole equation with 1/3. Okay? So, just the same lang naman ang result. So, divided by 3 ang bawat terms natin. Okay? So, ito namang 0, kahit lagyan mo siya ng denominator, it's still equal to 0. So, this will be cancelled out. So, what will be left is x squared plus, so we will just copy this kasi hindi naman natin pwedeng ma-divide. So, 8x over 3. And then, negative 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1 equals 0. Okay? Then, katulad ng ginawa natin kanina, ilipat natin ang constant on the other side of the equal sign. So, we're gonna have here x squared plus 8x over 3 equals positive 1 na to. So, may iniwan na naman tayong spaces. And then, kung anong ilalagay natin dito, gayon din dito sa kabilang side ng equal sign. So, gawin natin yung ginawa natin kanina. Again, we will use the formula b divided by 2 and the answer will be squared. So, ang b natin ay 8/3 or 8 over 3. So, we're gonna have 8 over 3. Okay? B natin yan, i-divide pa natin yan sa 2 and then get the square. Okay, fraction divided by a fraction. So, kunin ang numerator, 8/3, and then the operation now will be multiplication. I-multiply natin itong numerator natin sa reciprocal ng denominator. Ang denominator ay 2, that's 2 over 1 pag naging fraction. Reciprocal is pagpapalitin ng pwesto ang numerator and denominator, so that will become 1/2. And then, yung answer dyan ay i-square natin. Solve. Cancel 8 and 2, both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2, this will become 1. 8 divided by 2 will become 4. And then, wala na ma-cancel. Multiply. 4 times 1 is 4 over 3 times 1, which is 3. And square natin kasi may square ito. Then the square of 4 is 16. The square of 3 is 9. So, 16 over 9. So, magpa-plus tayo ng 16 over 9. Ayan, may fraction. So, I encourage you na mag-practice more about fraction so that hindi mahihirapan pagdating dito. So, this is now a perfect square trinomial. So, we will do the same. We will prepare a parenthesis na naka-square. Get the square root of the first term, that is x. Copy the sign of the middle term, which is plus. Get the square root of the third term. Square root ng 16, which is 4. Square root ng 9, which is 3. Or ito po yan, bago natin in-square. Okay? Equal, solve natin yung kabila. So, hindi natin pwedeng i-add because they are dissimilar fractions. So, ang 1 plus 16 over 9, ang 1 pag ginawa natin similar to 16 over 9, this will become 9 over 9. Diba? Para pareho sila ng denominator ng 16. So, plus 16 over 9. And 9 over 9 is equal to 1, right? So, this will become 9 over 9 plus 16 over 9. Ayan. So, we're gonna have x plus 4/3, the square of this binomial, equals 9 plus 16, which is 25 over 9. Okay, just add the numerators, 25, and then copy the denominator. Ayan na, naka-square itong binomial. So, hindi natin pwedeng galawin. Kailangan mo nang tanggalin ang squared. So, we have to get the square root. Gayon din sa kabilang side ng equal sign. So, cancel the radical sign and the exponent. So, we have here now x plus 4/3 equals the square root of 25 over 9 is positive and negative. The square root ng 5, which is 5, and the square root of 9, which is 3. Okay? So, ilipat natin ng 4/3 sa kabilang side ng equal sign. So, this will become x equals, so isingit muna natin to. Negative na siya. Negative 4/3 and then plus minus 5/3. Okay? So, isolve pa natin. So, pwede natin isolve yan kasi similar naman itong dalawa. Hindi sila nasa loob ng radical sign. So, paghiwalayin, we have here now negative 4/3. Kunin muna natin yung plus. So, plus 5/3. Okay? And then, yung isa naman, negative 4/3 minus naman, minus 5/3. Solve natin. So, negative 4 plus 5 is positive 1. Then, copy denominator. So, 1/3. And here, negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9 over 3. Masisimplify pa. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. So, therefore, ang solutions natin, we have x equals ito, 1/3. And then, the other solution, we have x equals negative 3. So, magkaiba ang ating solutions. We have 1/3 and negative 3. So, let's have the solution, the checking of our solutions. So, burahin natin. Magbura tayo dahil kailangan natin ng space. Okay, so tanggalin natin itong mga naunang solutions natin. Ayan. So, sige, tanggalin na natin to. Tanggalin, sorry, nabura. Tanggalin na natin to. Okay, I think pwede na yan. So, again, let us check. Check natin yung answer natin. Check natin kung tama ba yung ating sagot. So, again, we will check if yung una muna, x equals 1/3 is correct. So, again, copy natin yung original given natin. The original given is 3x squared plus 8x minus 3 equals 0. Substitute 1/3 to x. We're gonna have 3 times 1/3 squared plus 8 times 1/3 minus, copy natin si 3. Is it equal to 0? Unahin natin to. Okay, the parenthesis or the exponent. So, we're gonna have 3 times 1 squared is 1, 3 squared is 9. Okay, copy natin yung the rests. 8 times 1/3 minus 3 equal ba yun sa 0? So, cancel natin to. This will become 1, this will become 3. So, we have here now 1/3. And then plus 8 times 1 is 8 over 3 minus 3. Is it equal to 0? So, similar na itong dalawa. So, yung 3 is whole number. Pag ginawa natin tong fraction, similar sa equation na ito, magiging, okay, copy muna natin, 1/3 plus 8/3, okay, minus, this can be written as 9/3, because 9 divided by 3 is 3, okay, so kapareho na silang tatlo ng denominator, equal ba yun sa 0? Let's solve. 1 plus 8 is 9, minus 9 is 0 over 3. Or just simply 0. So, nag-equal, ibig sabihin, x equals 1/3 is correct. Let us check if x equals negative 3. The second solution is correct. So, again, ito yung ating original equation. Substitute natin si 3, negative 3 sa x. We're gonna have 3 times, instead of having x, write negative 3 and then squared plus 8 times x, which is negative 3, minus 3, equal ba yun sa 0? So, square muna natin si negative 3, that is 9. So, we'll have here 3 times 9, plus. So, wag na natin i-plus, because 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. Minus 3 copy, is it equal to 0? So, 3 times 9 is 27. Pwedeng kanina pa lang, dito pa lang na-solve na natin. Okay? Para mas matipid sa solution. And then, 27 minus 24 is 3 minus 3. That is 0. Which is equal to 0. Ibig sabihin, the solution which is negative 3 is also a correct solution. Okay? So, this is just completing the square. Yung number 1 and number 2, ang ginamit natin na method is completing the square. Alright? So, ang susunod naman natin na example is gagamitan natin ng quadratic formula. So, I have here a video na pinapakita kung ano ang quadratic formula, and I have also here a video kung saan I taught you kung paano matatandaan ang quadratic formula, and that is by singing the song in the tune of London Bridge, and then ang ilalagay na lyrics is yung formula mismo. Okay? So again, sa quadratic formula, so let me write that. Quadratic formula. So, ang quadratic formula, that is x equals, ayan, negative b, hindi ko na po kakantahin, plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over, ayan, dahan-dahan para straight, all over 2a. Ito po ang gagamitin nating formula. So, ibig sabihin, pag ginamit natin ang quadratic formula, kailangan natin ma-identify ang A, B, and C kasi nandito siya sa formula. Okay? Let us have the example na nasa module. We have m squared equals 2m plus 4. Okay? So, ang variable natin ay m kasi nasanay tayo sa x. Okay? So, ang ginamit dito ay m. So, let us write this first in standard form para ma-identify natin ang A, B, and C. So, this is our ax squared. So, this is, itong una natin isusulat, m squared, followed by, sige, iusod natin konti sa dulo para pantay pa rin sa equal sign. So, m squared, followed by bx. Ito yung ating bx. So, lipat sa kabilang side ng equal sign, magiging minus. Minus 2m, and then this is the constant, or c, lipat sa kabila, magiging minus. And then, equals, wala nang natira dito, so we're gonna write 0. Now, let's identify A, B, and C kasi naka-standard form na to. So, A is the coefficient of m squared. Wala tayong nakikita. It means that's 1. B is the coefficient of m, which is negative 2. And C is the constant, negative 4. So, let us now use the formula, quadratic formula, to solve for x. So we have x equals negative b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Substitute the value. So we have x equals negative times b, which is negative 2. Okay, so let's be careful, especially with the signs. Plus minus square root of, again, b natin ay negative 2. So b squared. So naka-squared ang negative 2. Minus 4 times a, ang a ay 1, times c, ang c ay negative 4. Okay? All over, lahat po yan ay i-divide sa 2 times a, which is 1. Okay, so ituloy natin dito sa kabilang side. So we have now x equals, so negative times negative 2, magiging positive 2, plus minus the square root of, the square ng negative 2, so negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. And then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive. Positive na siya. Okay? Positive 16. Okay? And then all over 2 times 1 is 2. Ayan. So, masyadong mahaba pala yung ating, na-extend natin masyadong mahaba yung ating radical sign. Alright? And then, combine natin itong nasa loob. So, this will become x equals 2 plus minus the square root of 4 plus 16, which is 20. All over 2. Ayan, may radical. So, dito pa lang, madidiscuss na natin yung radical na lesson natin pagdating ng second quarter. So, at least, magkaka-idea na. So, anong gagawin natin? So, this will become x equals, copy muna natin si 2 plus minus the square root of, actually, ang 20, mag-iisip tayo ng factors niyan. Okay, mag-iisip tayo ng factors ng 20 kung saan yung isa sa mga factors niya dapat ay perfect square. At yung isa naman sa mga factors niya ay prime na. Okay? So, ano-anong mga factors? Or kahit hindi prime, basta wala nang makukuhang factor doon na perfect square. So, kung mag-iisip tayo ng factors ng 20 ng isa ay perfect square, maiisip natin ay 4 times 5. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 is a perfect square. Ang 5, wala na siyang factor na perfect square. So, ito ang kukunin natin. 4 times 5. Lagay natin dito sa loob. 4 times 5. All over 2. So, we're gonna have here now x equals 2 plus minus. Ang 4 ay perfect square, may square root yan. So, kunin natin ang square root niya. Square root ng 4 ay 2, kaya lalabas na yan ng radical sign. Okay? Labas na yan ng radical sign. And then, square root of. So, nawala na yung 4. Lumabas na kasi siya, naging 2. Naiwan ng 5. So, may matitirang 5 sa loob. And then, all over 2. Okay, so yan na po ang mangyayari sa kanya. Ngayon, ihiwalay natin itong dalawa, itong 2 tsaka 2 is square root of 5. Gawin natin silang all over 2 or over 2 parehas. So, pwede yan isulat as 2 over 2. Ito muna, ito. Okay, and then plus minus, ito naman. 2 is square root of 5 and then over 2 pa rin. Okay, pareho lang po yan dalawa. Next, i-simplify. Ginawa natin to kasi para ma-simplify kasi ito pwedeng ma-simplify. So, we're gonna have 2 divided by 2 which is 1 and then plus minus 2 divided by 2 is 1 or just cancel this out. Matitira na lang ay square root of 5. So, we have here now x equals 1 plus minus the square root of 5. So, the solutions are, paghiwalayin natin ang plus minus. So, 1 plus the square root of 5 at yung isa naman na solution ay 1 minus the square root of 5. Okay, so ito na po ang lahat. So, ito po ang paliwanag doon sa ating module na nakabase sa MELC. So, to my grade 9 students, I hope na mas maintindihan dahil meron na tayong paliwanag dito and meron din tayong module. So, that will be all for today. See you again on my next video. Goodbye.